Hello, everybody. Welcome to Give Me Your Advice. Today we have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, Martin Solway. We're going to be talking about the importance of having a coach or a mentor in our career. Um, a little bit of an intro, how Martin and I met. We were kids. No, I'm joking. We were very young.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, it was 15 years ago, no, 13 years ago. So it is a lot.
a long time. Yeah.
Yes. When I joined Geo Services, Martin was already working there. And through when I started, and I met Martin, I think it was the only young person in Geo Services at the moment. When I was crying, I'm gonna die here. I don't have any friends. Martin and his now wife saved me and keep me and keep me active and through Houston.
Sanity.
Yes, keep insanity because in Houston, if you are not from Houston and you've never been here, it's such a big city, and it can be challenging for you to meet people. But yeah, Martin and Julia saved me when I moved back here. So, and also Martin at the time, it was already the sales or account management position with Chevron. And now I don't remember if I'm not wrong. And I was just pretty much starting with your services. I was started with an internship, and then I grow and grow. But I think without us knowing, Martin became one of my first coach, to be honest, and give me tips and give me advice and give me and guide me between him and Chris Platt. Um, really helped me and guide me a lot at the time. So one of the questions that I personally have, it is Martin is a geologist. And, but I always met you when you were already in sales. I never know how was that transition from one part to another, because your career is been pretty much between management and actually in sales as well. So how was that transition?
Yeah. So, well, it was mainly thanks to somebody that you know as well as I do. So, Chris Platt. And, I think throughout life, it's not a straight line in terms of your career. So I actually started off, so originally I wanted to join the military. So either as a pilot or in the Royal Navy, but unfortunately I'm slightly colorblind, so that it stopped me from doing that. But I really love geology, and I joined services when I couldn't join the military. So I actually spent probably about 3 years working around the world on different oil rigs. So very fortunate to go to all kinds of different countries in Africa and South America and across Europe. To that transition actually happened on a train station in Paris on a cold winter's day.
Wow.
Where a bit like when we met. It's I didn't know too many people at the time, and Chris happened to walk by, and we just said hi, and noticed that our accents were quite similar.
Yes.
Both being British, and actually both being from growing up, literally our parents are 10 minutes away from each other. So we actually just as it happened, we're from the same area. And we started talking, and and he, was actually one of my first coaches, and we developed a really good friendship, and I consider him very much a mentor. And he could see, that, one of my strengths was with people, and presentations and doing all this kind of stuff. And so he actually offered, to come to Houston and to go into account management. So, and at the time it was fairly new that the team. So I joined the team, and that's where we met. So that was kind of how I got into sales and account management, and then later into P&L management and other things.
It is amazing how one person can change your life so much.
Yeah, yeah,
It
absolutely.
is unbelievable how once even because what happens to me a lot is they can see probably my strength, and I have learned with years. Obviously, the older you get, you learn that part. But when you are young, you don't really see that much of that part of, and you don't believe. Like for me in sales, like yeah, I can. I'm not scared to talk to people, but become a global account manager or become like when you are young, you just see those position like huge, right? So it is amazing how Chris, you changed the path of your career for real.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I'm not sure what I believe in, but I think luck does play a part as well. I mean, if I wasn't on that train station
Yeah,
at
for
that
sure.
time in Paris, then we probably wouldn't have got into a conversation, and and my path might have been very different. So so I'm glad I was on the station then.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, how are
yeah.
you? He's fine, don't worry. It's okay. As
He's
we are
he's
all
my
part of
other. This is my other job with
yeah.
with coaching
I have
and
one here
mentoring.
too, so don't worry, we are all in the same boat. How are you, love?
I want to see my other one. Okay, all right, go and do it with mommy. Go on, please. All right. I knew that. I told them, please stay out of the room. I knew they would come in.
We do have, it is part of our life now.
Yeah,
When
that's right.
Martin and I met, we didn't have
We didn't have kids.
no.
We had dogs.
Yeah, no, to be honest, what I wanna, we're gonna go through a lot of concept here today about coaching and mentorship, but and probably we talk a little bit more at the end. But I just want to say, look, the team that we have in your services, it was so special. It was so unique, the way how we were able to interact inside and outside of the professional life or in the office. And
Yep.
It was amazing how all of us knew our part, but at the same time, if we were able to be friends and keep contact after so many years, how and not even with work, it was our clients, because our clients were included into that group as well. To today, I have so many friends in Facebook and LinkedIn, and all of them, they were my clients. I'm a type of your services, and definitely it's a topic that we're gonna talk today, and the importance from our leaders to guide us to be that person, and to strengthen our how you call it, the good things that you have. To strengthen that the not the weaknesses, but the
Your
strength.
strength. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that today we can start with, let's talk about a little bit the difference, so people can understand what is the difference between what is a coaching, what is a mentor, probably a counselor, and see how we can difference one or the other. I have my note for that too. You want to
And I think something interesting as well before we go into that. So now I kind of came from geology into sales, account management, and later into kind of more kind of operations management, and then now I'm actually working for not a oil and gas company, but for a material science company, but still kind of looking at oil and gas. And then recently doing an MBA, wants to go back to school, but one thing. So I was just on another session, and it was quite interesting about talking about global virtual teams and working with different cultures. And I think before going into the difference between mentoring and coaching, one thing that struck me that I'd quite be interested to kind of look at it is, when we look at mentoring and coaching has become very popular in recent years.
Yeah.
But is this a Western thing? So we're very used to working for Western companies, be them
Yeah.
European or American.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a big world out there, and is coaching and mentoring seen in the same light and as valuable in other places, particularly in the East, in Asia, etc. So that kind of struck me. So
Yeah.
before we go on to the difference, I just wanted to put out there that obviously this is my viewpoint, but I think it also comes from working a lot in the Western world and with Western companies. So
Yeah.
there might be differences depending on where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
For
I mean,
sure. I'm sorry. I tell you, I just to compliment a little bit about that comment. I told you that from South America in general, this is, like you say, it is very new for you to have a coach life or a health coach. But through your career, it is not very common to have a career coach or a mentor, or you can talk with all elders and talk to them and respect them and hear their experience and learn from their experience, but not someone that just sit down with you, listen to you, and kind of guide for you to become a better career. So from South American area, we say that it is not very common in your early years of career. So it's a very good point for sure. It is.
Definitely. I want to dig into a bit deeper, but I think going back to the difference between a mentor and a coach, and I think you're going to leave some links at the end of this, right, to some videos. So, and I was watching Simon Sinek recently, and I think he sums up mentorship in a good way. So, and mentorship to me is really a long-term process, and the way he sums it up, which is quite nice, is it's a bit like a friendship. So and it goes both ways. So it shouldn't be kind of mentor mentee, but really that both parties should learn from each other. And typically, and I have a couple of mentors who I get advice from, but they're also I consider good friends. But they're older and wiser and have been in kind of life experiences and obviously in the industry longer, so they're able to pass down that advice. Versus a coach, who I consider it's a much more formal, structured relationship process. So and it could be in the form of work through. Good leaders should be good coaches. So that's where most people come into contact with coaching without even realizing it, and I was there. I think you shared the same thing as well, right? So you don't realize that you're actually being coached. And then obviously what's becoming popular now, which you touched on, is this whole world of executive coaching or business coaching. But what's interesting there is it's still seen as something that C-suite CEOs, top executives kind of get access to. As I think it's applicable to everybody to depending on where you are in your life, what your goals are, that you can have some really good coaching experiences.
Yeah, that's for sure. At the end of the day, I know that it can be a little bit the three terms, coach, mentor, and counselor, they're very similar to each other, because at the end they are just have kind of the same goal, right? That is help overcome challenges or in to reach success, right? To reach that goal that you get in your life, whatever it is, in whatever area it is. But yeah, I agree with you. Mentor, I guess that a mentor is more the person you see in a person can be your grandpa, or a mentor can be that elder that is being in the same area or close to where you want to be or how you want to be, and you listen to them, and I guess the way they talk, it is easy for you to understand. Because let's be honest, right now with internet, you sit down and you get into a bunch of webinars and you can listen to so many people, but you don't get the same that I probably talk to you and I talk with someone exactly the same, and probably because the synergy or the click that we always have to sit down and talk about work, it's easier for me to understand how you explain things, right? And that is definitely one of the characteristic or the things that you need to find when you talk to, or when you choose a mentor or a coach. It is the way they talk to you. Are you able to understand them? What he explained is actually what you getting. um so all of that, it makes it is very important. With counseling, I think that is a little bit different. With counseling, I think that it goes more uh someone that is assigned to you, because depending of if you are at school or if you are in college, or if you had a specific issue, they assign to you a counselor to overcome that issue, right? So I find that one as well. But at the end, you just want to overcome challenge and reach that success.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And I think, I mean, the way I see, so mentor is somebody you can bounce ideas off of, get their advice, and I like there's a lot of talk between, okay, a coach, usually when you start talking about coaching, people think of sports, and a kind of coaching in sport, really is no different to a coaching in business,
yeah,
in which, a coach really is driving to get the best out of you as an individual, right? To achieve, to really get to understand what are your strengths, and how to exploit them so that you can be, the best at whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So, in sport, obviously, if you're trying to be, the best athlete, then, that's why you have a coach there to help you achieve that. But, it should be no different in business.
yeah,
And that's where, the whole profession around executive coaches come in. And that's where I think coaching, versus mentoring, where, mentors, you kind of have that more fluid dialogue and kind of give advice. Good coaches are good at asking the right questions and getting you to come up with the answers about yourself, and reflect on yourself and how you can be, the best, that you could possibly can.
yeah. That is for sure. I have recently, my coach, Paul, he asked me something that I have never had the I think that I knew that I was passionate in I guess because of my culture, I get too excited about it, but he never addressed how it can be a good or a bad thing, or how I have to uh like breathe. Like he always said, like, take 2 seconds, breathe 2 seconds, think about it, and just keep going. In that little things there, you just change everything. You just change everything, how you express, how you explain yourself. It is just amazing. It's really, it really can change it. And this one, again, I have already like 15 plus years of experience, and something that a coach told you today, how it can still change you. So, and even him, he's a COO. His career is very well put together to stay someplace, and he still have their coaches. It's not just one. He have it emotional. He have professional. He have like different coaches that can definitely help you to get to that point, right? To reach your goals.
Yeah.
Um, I think one of the questions that you wanted to talk about, and probably you have to explain a little bit, is what are traits of a good coach? What do you mean with traits? That was very British of you.
Yeah, I didn't, already gone back. I've been back in the UK for nearly a year,
Yeah, exactly.
having lived outside of the UK since I um, left pretty much straight from university, and yeah, I'm already picking it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess traits are, what to look out for. So if you're looking for some coaching,
Hmm.
um, what things you should look in a coach, because part of the issues for people now, now that coaching has become so popular, is you can Google
Yeah.
coaching and you get a million different options, even in your area.
Yeah.
And you've got to figure out that there's a lot of good coaches, but there's also not so good coaches, right?
Yeah.
And coaches specialize in different areas. So I kind of put a list together of things I thought that were critical to look for in a coach. I did the same for a mentor. But I think and there's a couple of things that apply to both. The first one is listening. So you want somebody who's going to listen to you and be a good listener. This is for your benefit, so you don't want them to be doing all the talking, right? So you want them to be able to listen and understand really where you're coming from. From a coaching perspective, I think it's good that a coach is organized and structured, and most importantly, coherent. The good coaches I found, so far, and I've kind of only been looking at this for the last kind of year or so, but have a coherent approach so they're that they're constantly reviewing sometimes the same thing, but to ultimately get to the goal of really putting you in a good position to really be successful. So that's really important. We've already touched on questions. So coaches typically will ask. They're very good at asking great questions
Yeah.
for you to reflect about yourself and really positivity is key as well. So it's all about you and focusing on your strengths and your ability to be the best that you can. So you
Yeah, that changed a
want.
little bit.
Sorry.
Did that change a little bit? Because in the past we always heard when people said like, well, you need to work on your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever you're weak, you have to change it and just try to change it to become one of your strengths. And lately I've heard a lot and I have read a lot about more than just change your weaknesses, just work very hard in your strength. Like in just taking your the same example that you do with did you say about coaching a team? That's what a team, that's what a coach does in any kind of team. They just tell you, okay, this is your strength, go ahead and run. You are this position, you're in that position. In that how you instead of and I guess what I'm trying to say is, instead of focusing on what you do wrong, they probably bring you down and frustrate you. How to put you in a position that you are positive and they keep you going and they push you to be the best, and you make to get that energy that are like, yes, I can do this, let's go. Do it. And it is amazing. I really like that part. I really like that point about being positive and embrace your strength. Sorry, I
Yeah.
got excited in that one.
No, that's good. And I think, you look at the most successful people out there,
Yeah.
they surround themselves with people whose strengths are usually their weaknesses.
Yes.
So you look at the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musk, great coaches of sports teams. It's not just them. When you look at an NFL team or basketball team or whatever it might be, there's a number of other coaches who specialize in different areas. So
That's for sure.
yeah. So that's really, really important. Patience and tolerance is another key thing. One kind of that obviously relates to sport, but it's very applicable in business as well, is pushes you in a good way to be your best. You want somebody to, like you just mentioned, who motivates you, who really kind of drives you and pushes you in that way. And then the last two, be realistic and honest. So I think that's important.
That's for sure.
And then obviously maintain confidentiality as well. When you're
Yes.
looking for a coach, you want it's between you. So that's what I had on coaching, and then on mentoring. Some of the similar points. Some differences is that because it's long term, you want that commitment. So that's kind of where the friendship comes in. You want, and Simon Sinek, if you open up the link, he talks about how, a good mentor is someone that's going to pick up the phone when you call or when you reach out and you want to talk.
Sure.
So that's important. Mutual respect is also important. Again, it shouldn't be mentor mentee. It's both people are learning from each other. The willingness to be open, share experiences. Again, be approachable, be honest, but diplomatic. Be fair and be compassionate. So anyway, that's some of my thoughts on some things to look out for in for good coaches and good mentors.
Yeah, it is definitely I have 9 points. I don't know if I missed one. Probably put together 2 instead of putting it together, but I think that is it comes again to what I mentioned before. It is that person that it goes very similar to your values, right? And it goes very similar to who you are. And it's easy for you to understand it because they are pretty much in the same, not level, because it's not a level thing. It is they're just able to understand each other, right? And is that if you come up with a problem or that the person is going to listen to you, or how you're going to explain, like if I'm going to call my coach, I'm not going to call with a panic attack. I know that I need to probably calm down, breathe a little bit, calm down, and then be able to call him and explain what the situation it is for for them to come with some kind of solution.
Mm-hmm.
It happened to me not long ago, to be honest, with all this COVID-19 and coming back to work, you get very anxious. So it took me a while to calm down and call him and say, like, hey, I have this situation, how I need to overcome this, because I need to keep going to work, but it's becoming a little bit difficult, right? Come back to work, come back to the office, and it was challenging. But that's why you need a coach. So they tell you, even it's just to tell you things that like, calm down, everything is gonna be okay. That, but you just need that voice that you just get in your head, and it's easy for them easy for you to listen and say, okay, yeah, if he say that it's okay, I believe him. He's been all right in many occasions, so that is good. The other, I know that you put here, I don't know if you have different words from what are the traits for a good coach, and then you mentioned what are the traits for a good mentor. Do you have them as separate as different points?
Yeah, so that's kind of why maybe I combine them a bit, but that's kind of what I touched on there about commitment, mutual respect, willingness to be open, be approachable, be honest, fair, compassionate. I think like going back to, again, what's the difference between a coach and a mentor? A coach is coaching is quite a full process. So, a structured process. So, you want somebody that can ask the right questions and really get the best out of you. As a mentor, is much more of a fluid, dynamic relationship. So, like you've just said there, a mentor to me is somebody that you can, you're feeling anxious or whatever from work. You've had a rough experience and you want somebody to talk to in a more kind of professional capacity, who has experience in the industry, etc. So that to me is a mentor that you can call up and you can you can get some advice, and that person's there for you. So that's some of the differences I see.
That's good. It's definitely needed. Where do you think, how we, like, it will have to be like an interview process that you have with different people to come with the right person? Because it is not easy, right? It is not easy for you to find that person that you feel comfortable with, or that you are just did you feel comfortable and understand it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a mentor usually forms from either people you've worked with or you come across and you develop that relationship over time, right? And then they kind of, become your mentor. So it's kind of like a friendship. You meet somebody and then, it evolves. But a coach, because it's more formal process, my advice is definitely to interview them, and most, and you can, good professional coaches know that. And when you go to their websites or if you inquire, they'll have their resume ready, they'll have their information, and good coaches are, from my experience so far, I found that are pretty honest. So depending on what you want to achieve, they will tell you whether they can help you or not. Because if they can't help you, then it can also be bad for them, because they, coaching today is kind of freelance, and so they very much rely on good reviews. So they want to help people to be successful and be the best that they can. So it's within their interest as well. And that's usually a good way you can distinguish between good coaches and not so good coaches.
That's good. Yeah, I have Karen. They mentioned, what about compatibility? I can pronounce that. Compatibility.
Compatibility.
Yes, thank you.
I guess, do you want to expand on that, Karen, a bit? So I guess with a coach or
with the mentor, it's definitely actually I mentioned before, it is that way. I guess that your values in the way you talk, and it doesn't even have to be with language, or if it's Spanish or whatever you feel comfortable with, obviously, but it is that is, I can talk to you in Spanish and English, but if you cannot understand, or we don't have that click, it is so hard to explain, because it's a matter of personality. It's a matter of how compassionate can you be with your words, or if you want to, there are people that like to be at work, they like someone to be more aggressive, so much like, yes, go for it, like, and pushy. And other ones that don't really like that part. They just want you to listen and guide me, but don't push me. So I guess that I have to be that part of compatibility have to be with that, like if how that person is able to take for it.
I get you. I mean, it's really important. I think, as mentorship is over a kind of long term, and you develop that relationship, then you kind of choose a mentor based on that person being compatible, right? You kind of form that relationship with a coach, though obviously it's kind of harder. But most coaches that I know, and I've kind of been doing a little bit of training as well, is good coaches will offer free sessions, if they're obviously professional coaches, to see if there's that compatibility. So that's because obviously with your coach and with your mentor, it's about you, and you want to be comfortable talking to that person, because also, and I'm not sure if you had a question later on if we get onto it, but coaching. So I've just gone through some coaching myself, and I came into it with a very kind of professional mindset, thinking, okay, I'm just going to talk about my career. What's my career been like so far? I'm now kind of mid-career, and I'm kind of getting a bit bored, to be honest, and figuring out, okay, well, where do I want to go to next?
Yeah.
For the first few sessions, we spoke only about personal stuff. So what do I want to achieve with my life? What's my purpose, my family, my kids now, which is obviously very important, before we even started to talk about my professional life and how that all fits together. So coming back to that compatibility, then it's very important, because you want to talk about those things, and I found it to be very beneficial, because then my coach in this instance really pushed me and really encouraged me to kind of dream when it did come to the professional part, to say, well, what do you really want to do? And I'm happy to share, but it was around, I've always been interested in the outdoors and kind of helping other people be successful. So
Yeah,
it was more around kind of building an outdoor leadership business.
that is
Yeah,
awesome.
which I always thought was completely a dream. But he really pushed me to say, well, why not? What's stopping you from doing that? What are the barriers, and how can you overcome those barriers and achieve that dream, that goal? So, but tying it back into into my personal life as well.
Yeah,
How does that all fit together?
I think that a lot of the coach part as well. The need what is so important is we get comfortable. It's true we get bored for sure, but we get so comfortable. We get comfortable with the industry, comfortable with the positions that we are on, with the company that we are on, and you can see people spending time 30, 40 years or whatever until they get retired, and it becomes easy and comfortable. It becomes just your job to 8 to 5, and that's it. And becomes your salary and know how you can pay your stuff, and it's just very structured. And it's that once someone tell you that, I think that is one of the hardest question in life. It is, what do you want to do? And that blows your mind like that. You get so confused and so like, okay, I want to do this, but yeah, but it takes you out of your completely comfort zone. And we as a humans, we are not good on that, right? We are not